Hi, folks. This is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report. Well, this wonderful spring, this time when fishing can be the very best of the entire year because the fish are all around us, there's something else that can be all around us if we venture into the woods fishing. And that thing is black flies. Now, black flies are going to affect you in different ways. They tend to be more back into the woodsy areas than they are, for example, along the St. Lawrence River. But black flies can affect our experience in the outdoors to a great degree. And it's different for some people than it is for others. We all kind of are affected a little bit differently by black flies. But black flies are, and by the way, there's only about 6 species or variations of black flies that are essentially dangerous to people. There's lots of black flies that don't even bite. And maybe those are the black flies that we see buzzing around us in the beginning of spring when we say, oh, they're not biting yet. They don't bite at first. That's what I've always thought. But in doing more study on black flies, I've realized that there are a lot of them that just don't bite. But those that do, for some people, they can get black fly fever. That's what they call it. Is it a fever? I don't know, but it does cause an elevation of body temperature. But I think more horribly, it causes pain, tremendous pain, headaches. It causes nausea. It can cause tremendous lumps and a swelling of lymph nodes. I mean, this is pretty bad stuff. And yesterday, Rust and I went fishing into not too far away, but into the Adirondacks. And I knew that the black flies would be there. We got there and there were other people there and they all had netted suits on to protect them from black flies. I didn't have that. Rust immediately got out his net and this was a huge thing to him. But what happens to him is that he's affected like those people we talk about that get black fly fever. I'd never really thought of it like that. I know they can really bug me. Oh, poor choice of words, I guess, there. And I know that other people, when I've traveled throughout Quebec through my life, a lot of the native Quebecers would laugh. They'd say, well, what's the big deal? Is a swarm of black flies encircled my head? And they'd say, just ignore them. But some people, either you build an immunity or something. But here's what black flies do. When they bite you, they inject you with with something that numbs where the bite is going in. So you're not aware of it. You're not aware that all of a sudden you've been stung by something. And it allows them to have the time to start feeding on your blood. And boy, oh boy. Well, yesterday I had just a fabulous day of fishing, and so did Rust. And I kept putting on this bug repellent, which I normally don't use, but it was a repellent that didn't have any DEET or anything in it. And it seemed to work okay for me. But I knew Rust was really bothered by the thought of those black flies. Well, we had a fantastic day of fishing, and I've covered that in another report. But last night, I get a text from Rust, and he says, oh my gosh, the terrible itching has started. My head is swelling up, and I have terrible pain. And I know Rust, and he was telling me exactly the way it was. And I thought, this is something that I should pass on to others. Black flies can really be a nuisance, and I think we need to guard against them if we have the type of body. Is it caused by our diet? Is it caused, we as people can affect black flies too, because as we restore streams, and which tends to increase the dissolved oxygen in the stream, which causes black flies to flourish. So there's a cycle of cause and effect, and there's a cycle of dependency and codependency that takes place between different species and mankind. But black flies they're the scourge of the North Country, and they can be something that really does put a damper on the wonderful outdoor world that we have around us right now in the spring. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report.